Well, welcome. Tonight, we're going to talk about a happy place, a place that's evolved over the years, a place where a lot of old Milfordians, and I'll admit I'm one of them, grew up playing ball hockey when it was still called an armory, a place where our kids got to go to dances, a place that gave an alternative, that gives an alternative to kids who don't necessarily participate in mainstream high school events. A place for all kids, something that the community has invested significantly in and hopefully will continue. So why don't we start with an introduction?
Hi, I'm Jen Ward. I'm the director of the Milford Youth Center, and thank you for having me on, Al.
Jen, there may be somebody in Milford, I doubt it, but that doesn't know what the youth center is. Tell us about what's the mission, what's the youth center all about?
So the Milford Youth Center, it's the old Armory building. It's 24 Pearl Street, and it functions mainly as an after-school program. If we were in a non-COVID world, it would be a free after-school program for Milford youth or youth attending Milford Public Schools. It's for 8 to 18-year-olds where kids can come after school and have a safe place to be with their friends or participate in our structured programs. So if you come in on a normal day, you would be able to sign in and you have a little ID card, and then you could sign up for two of three of the structured programs. And if you didn't want to, you could actually just enjoy the game room, the gymnasium, and the kitchen lounge area. So we are usually open Monday through Friday after school till 6 o'clock, where kids, like I said, can participate in those activities. We also offer a free dinner and snack during those after school hours. That's a program with the high school and the YMCA, and it's a state funded program. And then that would run for 10 months of the academic school year. And then we would transition into a summer camp program, a paid summer camp program that provides 8 to 4 care with also an extended day option. Very affordable. It was $150 a week last year, where that fee included all 5 days and all field trips. And then we provided breakfast, lunch, and snack during that program, and 2 field trips a week. So that's our main function. And then we also are open in the morning and the evenings for either meetings or our own programs. We do offer senior walking, and kids play group for 0 to 5. And we had a respite group that used to come in 2 days a week as well. And then in the evenings is where we open up for rentals, where we do have a fee for the space, and that helps offset a lot of the costs that we allow for the free after school program. So from 6:30 to usually 9:30, the building is rented out to the community. So I would say that's our main function and mission. Is really, it's become more of a community center, I would say. I mean, it's definitely obviously an after school program, and that's our main mission, but we have, I believe, grown into more of a community center over the years.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember when our special needs kids needed a place to play basketball and there were no courts available. The youth center came through with some hours, and obviously they don't have any money in their program.
Mhm.
So that was really nice that you helped out Milford kids on another group of Milford kids.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. I mean, when with the Special Olympics, I mean, they used to come on, I think it was Friday nights once a month, even prior to the renovation, for like a special Friday night out. So the kids would be in the center, and then the parents were able to enjoy a night out. So it was only natural to when Jen Walsh reached out, and certain members from the community, that we reach out to our board, and our board approved it with no issues. So we were glad to do it. And it was really helpful when we had a divider too, because we could even offer more space for different organizations for even the same time period, if it was only a half court rental necessity or the full court.
Well, I think the biggest thing was, I mean, it may be a no-brainer, but if you have no money, you can't necessarily go to a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just super to see that the kids were treated so well, so nicely, and made to feel so good about being part of Milford.
No, I
So
agree.
what I hear, there's something new and exciting coming.
Yes. So you are probably like there's only probably like 10 people that know this so far. But we're getting a donation of $25,000 from Amazon on the 16th. I think almost 2 days after you came and toured, well, not 2 days, it was probably the next week after you toured the facility with Brant. I had a representative from Amazon want to come to the youth center and look at the facility and see what we were doing, because we do have a good relationship, probably over the last year with Amazon. They donate a lot of their returned items to the center that we either keep for our kids, our program, or we redistribute to the community. And we did that actually a lot during the first few months of COVID. So he wanted to really understand more of what we did in person. So I gave him a tour of the facility and I showed him the music and multi-purpose media center that we're trying to build, which is actually a project that we've worked on for years with Milford TV. And almost maybe just 2 weeks later after that meeting, I got an email that they selected us for this community donation for the 25,000. So it's going to be presented formally on November 16th at the youth center.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Now,
very
is that
exciting.
directed, or can you use it the way you want to?
It's directed for that music multipurpose media center. I explained how we were doing telethons and to raise money for that center, for that room, excuse me, and that we've raised almost 20,000 over the last 2 years, and that it's just something that we hope to continue to raise money for, so we can actually start. And I explained what the quote that we received in 2016, and so the 25 almost matches what the original quote was. It was a conceptual quote, so I'm sure the project will be a little bit more, but we can get it off the ground now sooner and not do the telethons to really see it come to fruition sooner.
But what are you going to do in that room? What actually is going to happen?
So the goal of that room was always to provide a space to not only grow, alternative skills. So we obviously have that beautiful gymnasium, the game room, the kitchen, everything, but we know there's not every kid that comes to the youth center that wants to pick up a basketball or play ping pong. So we like to have our programs grow, and actually we've been collaborating with Milford TV for as long as I can remember. Even when I was an AmeriCorps member, I would bring my leadership group down to Milford TV to get trained in, editing and camera use. So it's been a long collaboration. And over the years, Liz and I have met to really try to have an on-site program so that kids can produce things from the center themselves. So our programs, our events. So we want that to be part of the studio so that we have an editing station and a camera. And then we also want it to have a music component so that kids can play instruments and can record things and really be creative. So it's almost every space in our building is multi-purpose, but that's really the goal, is to be a music multi-purpose media center.
So this really will help the kids who are not athletically inclined to come down and kind of reach their potential.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the goal. I want any kid to be able to come to that youth center, and if they want any type of programming, that the option is there for them. So
Well, that'll be great because it'll also be a good feeder for Milford TV.
exactly. This was Liz's idea. She's really trying to create an externship program that connects the Milford High School, Milford Youth Center, and Milford TV, so that she has Milford High School students become interns with Milford TV and learn the ropes, and then that they do some of their hours at the youth center and to teach our kids, so that then it can be full circle. And Milford TV is also getting the experience, and also the Milford High School students, and then our kids hopefully can grow with the program and then become those future interns and things like that, which we've also already seen over the years. We have a couple of our after school members who have become interns and paid employees at Milford TV because of that. Caitlin Mobilia being one of them. She became an integral part at Milford TV. So it's been really nice to see that, and we just want it to grow, obviously, too.
So now we're in the middle of a COVID pandemic. Does anybody come to the youth center?
Yes, they do. So initially, we obviously had to close down with all the municipal buildings, and we actually kept very active over the summer. We did a lot of projects. We distributed gifts every week to kids in our after school program. We made masks. We did community outreach projects to the senior population, to the medical health field, to the police officers to thank them for all their service. Like I said, with the Amazon donations, we were doing weekly distributions to the Milford Food Pantry, to the Milford Humane Society, to Milford High School that was organizing the weekend bags. So we kept busy for those first couple months that everything was locked down, but we were still working. And then when the town was able to open up again, we started offering programs at capacity of 10, and we started with like an arts and craft program, a frisbee program, and a martial arts. So we did that for the 6 weeks of opening, and then it started to become the time period where we were going to reopen to the community in either an after school setting or if that was going to be allowed, which we quickly realized it wouldn't be possible in the normal traditional way that our after school program runs, where we see between 100 and 150 kids every day. So that's actually when Kevin McIntyre, the superintendent, reached out to me along with other community members. My cat's in the background, I'm sorry.
Good
um,
kitty.
So Kevin McIntyre reached out asking me to be a part of a Zoom meeting with YMCA, the library, some of the local churches, and this was all in preparation prior to the decision of what Milford's public schools were doing in terms of being remote or hybrid, and just wanted to kind of proactively see if there was any space available so that if they did choose the hybrid model, that there would be some options for families in need in terms of the remote days. So I explained that we have the space, it's here, and I want to offer it to the community. We just didn't have the capacity. We only had 2 full-time staff at the time that are funded through the town. So without any revenue coming in, we didn't have the availability to have part-time staff to offer. So I said, we have the building, just not the capacity. So that's where we then partnered with the Hockomock area YMCA, who had the capacity and were already in the works of trying to create an out of school time program, not only in Milford, but all their surrounding towns that they cover. So that really got Kim Jennings from Hockomock YMCA. We started meeting almost a couple times, 3 times a week to see if the facility would work. And then we had to work with the town to get a special license and contract, not only through the town, but through the state to have the youth center licensed as a out of school time program. So then that led to the selectmen meeting, which they had to approve it. And so there was probably a month of all these different meetings and all these different documents that we had to get through the town or through the state. And I think we got it the week prior to school's opening. And then we had desks delivered from the high school. And then we started to really figure out how we can make this work in terms of keeping kids safe and within their cohorts. So basically the way it works is if your kids are in school on Monday, Tuesday, they can come on Wednesday, Thursday. Well, excuse me, the options are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so that you can choose to come when your child is remote. And then so that's kind of what we came up with. And then the Y works with the kids in our basement. That's where we have all the cohort classrooms. We are licensed for 60 students right now through the state in the building. And the kids can get dropped off at 7:30 in the morning, and then they have their normal school day just at the youth center, and they're on their Chromebooks with the YMCA helping them with all the academic pieces and their transitions and things like that. And then the youth transition to our program at 2:15, which we have described it more of as an extended day program, not an after school program, so families wouldn't be confused with our traditional after school program coming in. So then we take the kids at 2:15 and we have structured programs again for them, and we keep them separate in their cohorts as well. And we do the same types of programs that we would do in the after school program, just with the safety precautions. So we're doing arts and crafts, we're doing sports activities. We have a HIT program that the Milford Regional Medical Center funds. So we have an instructor, Carly, that comes out on Fridays. We have a volunteer that's coming and doing, last month they did chess club, and now they're doing volleyball this month. We do STEAM projects, we do nutrition projects, but all within guidelines so that everyone's safe. And then before any group transitions, we're all sanitizing everything. And then And then they also are able to get their dinners also. With us, they eat their dinners, but prior with the YMCA, they're eating breakfast, lunch, and snack as well. That's still being able to be provided. And then
Wow.
finally, I know. And then finally on Wednesdays, we offer a grab and go program as well. So anyone that was in our program, past or present, is allowed to call the center and they can get a free dinner and a free snack. And that's again a collaboration with the high school and YMCA and the state program. So every morning, even though the kids are with the we're in charge of the food program. So we coordinate, we order, it gets delivered, and then we have kind of an assembly line and we pack all the lunches and dinners in paper bags, and then we distribute them to the Y program and then keep what we're keeping for the extended day program. So a lot's going on.
I don't think people really appreciate how many kids count on the food programs in Milford. I
I
was
know.
really surprised to find out how many kids, if they don't get breakfast at school, they probably don't get breakfast. If they
Exactly.
don't get lunch and dinner somewhere, they may not get it every day. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe in our little town that kids can go hungry.
I know. It's sad. I mean, I never really grasped it until we had this program. I think it started in the Milford Youth Center maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I think it first started with the snack and then the lunch, and then it grew to the dinner. And it was shocking because it was nice to see that you didn't have to have there was no questions asked, and then so everybody could be sitting at the same table enjoying these meals, and there was no one was uncomfortable with it. But then it really became even a larger program where the community was coming to get food. So we even have the families being sent on Friday with weekend meals, so they get meals for Saturday and Sunday as well. And even on the last holiday, I think of Columbus Day, we were sending home meals also for the Monday as well. So the need is there, and it's really supplementing a larger effort. Though I don't want to take any credit for the Memorial School program that's running the weekly grab and go programs as well. So this is really to make it really just user friendly and more accommodating to families that are using our program, so they don't have to go to two locations. And then also for the Wednesdays, because that's when everybody's remote, so we wanted to have the grab and go program available. So that's because like you said, the kids are not in school at all, whether you're cohort or cohort A or cohort B, so that you still have an opportunity to come and have food even though you're not coming to the center necessarily or to school. So
So now, as a parent, I mean,
mhm,
let's face it, there's majority of homes that have two parents, both parents are working. If it's a single parent home, you have no choice, but the parent is working.
mhm.
How are they coping? I mean, I'm amazed to hear the stories of people who they can't not go to work because they have to earn a living, but you can't leave an 8 or a 10-year-old saying, okay, Johnny or Sally, you be a good kid. I'll be home tonight. Study
Yeah.
well. So is this not a way of helping the Milford community cope with remote learning or remote care?
I mean, with the amount of work and effort that it kind of came to create this program, I honestly thought it was going to be just, the working family that just wanted to have, maybe some extra help, like, but not necessarily a necessity. I really was kind of naive going into it. Um, I am amazed at what the Y and the Youth Center have been able to do and collaborate with other local agencies, especially the Milford High School and Lisa Kincaid with her resource group. We have been, with all of the organizations, really been connecting the dots for a lot of families, whether it's food insecurity. We've had families that are homeless that we've helped with the Y, obviously, as being a key partner here, finding housing. Um, we've had kids that didn't have their parents. They were living with relatives because some of their family members were stuck in different countries for a month. So that's been the most moving part. We've, distributed hygiene products, food, clothing, and then also a lot of referrals to different groups and agencies. So I think it became more of helping a lot of these families and not just the remote aspect, but really coping through this whole epidemic and pandemic to make sure that they were getting the resources that they potentially would be getting through the schools, or maybe not even, because we didn't ever get that intimate knowledge of really what was going on at the home, because we don't have kids this from 7:30 to 5 every day. That's usually our summer camp time, but that's really recreational. So this we've really it's been really eye-opening to see what the community has been in need of during this difficult time.
Well, it was amazing to me years ago when we started, picking off the giving tree at church.
Mhm. Yep.
And, these kids would ask for things that were just outrageous. I mean, a 12-year-old, we got one where she asked for a coat because the sweater she was wearing to school was getting
Mhm.
worn out and it was too cold. I mean, all the kid wanted was a real coat,
Mhm.
and Lisa Kincaid and crew have helped every time we've needed a coat. She has a stash somewhere where she comes through. But another kid once said he wanted to get his own book because it was too hard on his parents to take him to the library and borrow books.
Mhm.
How can you not want to help kids? When you think of all the things that our kids ask for, a book, one book,
Right.
a coat, you know?
Yep. I know we do the same thing at the center. We have like a stockpile of coats and hygiene things like that for the same purpose. But I remember last year we had a individual. We were able to, I think, give gifts out to over 120 youth last year, through multiple organizations. And one kid did only ask for hygiene products, and the organization went bananas. They got him obviously more than just that, but they called me and they were like, "Is this really what the child is asking for?" And I said, "Unfortunately, yes." Like, because we used to do it as like a want, a need, and like a desire, basically, like, so that we could be asked, we were asking kids what they really did need, but also something that they really wanted as well. And this kid really only asked for that. And it was sad, but I mean that the organization really stepped up and made a really good holiday for him.
Well, it's amazing because you find out things about the Milford community that you never expect. It's hard for me to come to grips with the fact that there's kids in Milford who are hungry.
Mm-hmm.
There's kids in Milford who want Santa to bring them a coat so they're not cold walking to school. I mean, this is our town. This is we have 4,400 kids in the school system,
Mm-hmm.
that we worry about. It's hard to really deal with the fact that some of them, we're not doing enough to help them. You could argue we're doing more than most towns, but still, when you look at those little faces, it's kind of hard to say you don't want to do more.
I know.
I,
It's hard.
I mean, I was surprised recently. We got the privilege of taking a tour downstairs. Now, I have fond memories of downstairs, moldy walls, when we get to go down there, because that's where they had the guns and the bullets. So they didn't let us go down for almost anything except to get to there used to be an entrance that they brought stuff in way in the back.
Yep.
But
Mm-hmm.
when Grant and I went down there as representatives of the FinCom, I was totally shocked. It was gorgeous. The classroom down there was beautiful. I mean, not taking anything away from Woodland, but this this image I had of old musty, basement
Mm-hmm.
went away real fast.
I think it's one of after the 4 years post the renovation, it's one of, I think, my proudest moments was when we kind of started tackling the basement, and it was all due to community collaboration and community projects. So it's just a nice thing to show the community and show and to tour with you and Brant, because I like to walk around and explain, who did this and who did that, because it was 4 years of community work and community grants and community donations. So it was a joy to really watch you guys really get to see it too, because if you came after the renovation, the basement didn't look like that. It wasn't part of the reno, with the exception of the trenches. And I know that wasn't what people like to see either, because they like to see where their money goes. And then they're like, where did the basement, why isn't the basement look just as nice as upstairs? And so I think it's the community can be really proud that the different community businesses and individuals and agencies really stepped up and really made that become part of this renovation and part of this building that keeps growing. So I can't take credit for it. It was so much of community work that really made that all happen.
No, but I mean, people have a legitimate right when they say we put $6 million into a building.
Hmm.
What are we getting for it?
Hmm.
And I think people like me that walk downstairs and all of a sudden see that it's not just playtime. There
Hmm.
are legitimate classrooms down there that are set up to help parents, because a lot of them, okay, my child is home for 3 days a week. Do I pay? I mean, you pay a tutor to sit there with your child while you're working, $600 a week.
Hmm.
Not a lot, not everybody can afford $600 a week out of their income, but they also can't afford to not work for 3 days a week.
Yeah, it's a tough alternative. Yeah. Hmm.
So I think it's great. Now, parents can drop off their children in the morning as if they're going to school.
Yep, they have to register through the Y portal, and there are I think we have 49 to 50 right now, so there's only a few there's 10 spots I believe left. But yes, you have to register, and it's $50 a day for that full care from 7:30 to 5. So the most that a parent would pay for a week would be 150. But the Y, because of their licensing with the state, are also able to provide vouchers. So if there are any financial difficulties, that the Y is able to help with that. And then the youth center does get a small portion, obviously, of that as well, in terms of the transition. But I, it's as affordable, I believe, as the Y could make it in terms of staffing, and then for our staffing as well. So I think we've been able to make it work for the most families possible, especially with the voucher program.
Well, I mean, $150 is not terrible money. Like I
Mhm.
say, we're up to 600 for 5 days, so it
Mhm.
certainly sounds a lot better than the alternatives I've seen.
Yeah, and then like I said, with the meals provided as well. So again, just trying to do as much to make it as accessible and easy for families during this difficult time.
So who funds the meals? How do you get money I mean, 3 meals a day and a snack? That's
So it's a state reimbursable program. USDA is one of they're the funders for the grab and go program, and then CACFP are the funders for the lunch and breakfast program. So we work with the YMCA before the school year every year, and we basically have to, it's an alternative licensing to have this food be located at the youth center. So in terms of making sure, our food permits are up to date. We have Board of Health, things like that, all up to date. And then it's a application that goes to the state. And then if we're approved, and it all is based on your geographic location and the percentage of youth in that geographic area that are free or reduced lunch that qualifies you. And the youth center is in a area that the percentage is higher than 50%, which allows it to be at the youth center. So um, then the Milford Public Schools is the vendor. So they order all the food, and it's all guideline based. So the state allows it, it has very strict guidelines to make sure that it has, the different food groups, and that it's as healthy as possible in order to serve the kids. And it's all peanut free. And so the Y fronts the funds and pays the vendor, the Milford Public Schools, and then it's reimbursed through the state. So every month, like Shannon from the Y was here on Monday, we do monthly reporting. So then it goes back to the state so that it can be reimbursed. So it's no expense to the Y or to the Milford Public Schools or to the youth center because of this state funded program.
But now, are there limitations like income limitations, or 60 sounds like a great number of kids, but
Mhm.
in a town like Milford, I could see that getting overwhelmed quickly. how does somebody qualify or sign up? They go to the portal.
Yep, they go to the YMCA, the hawkymacYMCA.org website, and then there's an out of school time link. You will see a lot of different locations because I think there's at least 10 communities that they're doing these programs in. So you just have to go to Milford, and then you do have to register on their like program website to be basically register as a family if you're not already a part of the program through any of their previous programming. And then you would register and then you would log in, sign in, and select the days that you would like to participate. And then they have an area where if you do need financial help, that you would put in your information or connect with somebody from their finance department.
But I mean, that's if you need help with the 150 a week.
Yep.
Uh, how about the people who don't need help? Is everybody eligible, or is there income
Oh,
limitations?
no, anyone is eligible. You don't it's not for a specific, financial bracket or anything like
It's not
that.
like
It's
the reduced lunch program.
no, no. And the same with our grab and go. You don't have to show anything. You just call the youth center and you say, I want this many meals. And if we still have them available, because we have to order, there's obviously guidelines in terms of how long you can keep food. So we have to be very strategic in how much we have in preparation. But yep, there's no questions asked in terms of that. So,
But now, when you say grab and go,
mhm.
I drive up, I get lunch for me and my two kids, and drive away.
So one of what school is it? Right down the street from us. They're doing
Memorial.
breakfast. Yes, they're doing breakfast and lunch. So they have that program covered. So I believe you can come between 11 and 1, and you just literally drive up and you tell them how many meals you need, and then they give them to you. And then we have the dinner and the snack at the youth center on Wednesdays. So you would call the youth center, you would say, I would like 3 meals for my family, and then we would package them, and then we would bring them out to the car when they arrived. Mhm.
What kind of dinners do you make? I mean, that sounds like an awful big task.
Well, it's the Milford Public Schools, their food department that's preparing everything, and then they just deliver it. So every dinner we have a Monday through Friday schedule. So whether it's a ham and cheese sandwich and then it comes with milk, carrots, like a chip or granola bar, and then like even a third snack, a grain. So it's a pretty well balanced meal. It has all the different components. So there's ham and cheese, turkey and cheese, sun butter sandwiches, salad dinner, yogurt dinner. So there's all those different options. Oh, and a chicken wrap. So, so those are what's delivered, and then that's what we package. We get it all in boxes, like all the carrots, all the milks, all the sandwiches, and then we get brown bags, and then we package them, and then that's how it gets distributed.
Well, if it's coming from the high school, there's a Oliva hand in it, so your confidence immediately goes way up.
Yes, no, Carl is the one that we go through for everything in terms of, making the schedule, the menu options so that families can see what they're getting every day, and for all the meals. And she's really the one that's makes sure that, on those weekends and the holidays. I mean, I think they're closed. I think the 27th after Thanksgiving, and we found out today. We assumed we wouldn't be able to provide meals for the kids for that long weekend, and she said she'll make it happen. Like, I mean, like, I just can't praise her enough and her team, because they're the ones we have to order it by 9:15, and then it gets delivered by 10:15, so that we have all the food ready for the kids for the rest of the day, and then obviously and then a day in advance for breakfast options, so that's already prepared.
Well, I remember when Carla came to us, and the original freezers and fridges that were in the high school had seen its last day after 30, 40 years.
Hmm.
She mentioned that one of the things that they use those for is the outreach program for the community. It's not just the kids in the high school.
Yep.
Not that that isn't a big enough job.
I don't know how she does it. I really don't. I mean, the first couple weeks, everyone was so crazy. We were picking up the food because it was so like I didn't know how they were going to take this on with all the changes and how the schools were going to operate. And then we thought we were going to have to do that for the first month, and it only lasted a week. And then she managed to have the delivery team be able to add us to the route, and then we were up and running like normal. So cannot praise that department enough. They do great work for everybody.
No, it's amazing, and everything the Olivas do for this town. God
Mhm.
bless them. And then they have a day job. They have their regular business to keep going.
I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy.
I mean, we were fortunate enough to have Carla cater my daughter's graduation parties.
Mhm.
You you can't describe how happy we were, and the quality, and it's not just good food, because there's a lot of places that can give good food. The
Mhm.
whole, Carla and her whole crew seem to put some magic into it and just make you feel appreciated.
Mm, I agree. When I first came here, I was as an AmeriCorps member. I had my family come to our first St. Patrick's fundraiser, and all my friends, and they were supporting me obviously with my new position. But what brought them back every year was Olivas, and I'm not kidding. Like, because I'm from Millis originally, so I mean, I don't know if I don't my family just wasn't familiar with it, and they praise it, and every family gathering I have to pick it up on the way. We order it for any birthday party or event. So, I mean, the food is no joke.
Now you talk about coming back every year.
Mhm.
I didn't e, I didn't get my phone call this year that says we're having an event, obviously, and we need you to sponsor this or that. But what's happening as far as funding for the youth center?
So it's been a challenging year, I mean, for everybody. So, um, when we shut down, I mean, we shut down right before our 10th annual March fundraiser. And I remember being at a department head meeting, being asking the board of health when no everyone thought this was going to be a week. And I was like, "Wait, can I still have our fundraiser? We have so much planned, we have awards." And she was like, "I don't think so, Jen." And so I think throughout the pandemic, I think as things were starting to get better in September, we were actually planning on having a small outdoor event to try to salvage it. And then I went to Craft Roots on a Sunday or Saturday to meet with Robin and Maureen to see how we could make it work. And we were so excited about it. And then the governor changed the I think 50 to 25. And it was just like, oh my God, like it was our third attempt. So we came to the realization that it just wasn't happening this year. But then I reached out to Robin and Maureen probably a month and a half ago to see if we could at least salvage getting the awards that we give out annually. So every year we've given out an individual appreciation award or a community appreciation award, just to really show that none of this work that we could be accomplished without community help and individuals. So I felt it was important to at least acknowledge those people if we could in a safe way. So we talked to the Board of Health, and we figured out that we could do a small program with less than under 25 people. So that's the plan. We're going to acknowledge Ray Osier, who has really helped us in the last 2 to 3 years with raising all the telethon funds. I mean, he dedicates an entire day. It's one thing for me to do that on a Saturday, to represent the youth center, but for somebody who's not a board member or volunteer, to really do that. And he's done it for the last 2 years so gracefully, and we really appreciate that. And he's also helped facilitate a lot of other outside donations. For that music and multi-purpose media center outside of the telethons. He planned a whole Halloween event for us last November, I believe, to raise money at one of the local establishments as well. So we really appreciate all that he does. And then the Milford Rotary Club. They've been huge supporters since even prior to when I came here as an AmeriCorps member, giving scholarships for our summer camp program and donations throughout the year just to showcase their support. So we're really excited to be able to give those awards out, whether we're not handing them physically. We're going to have a nice little table, and we're not going to have a mic. We're all because we're just going to be very intimate and small groups. So we're going to be able to at least give them their awards. We have plaques made, which is kind of eerie. They're all of the March date, but we already had them. We already had them made, and then the citations, we're having State Representative Brian Murray, Senator Ryan Fatman, the selectmen were all invited. I know we have a couple already that RSVP'd, and then some board members, and then Maureen and Robin are gonna volunteer. It's a night that they're closed, to keep it safe from the public and everything. So that's going to be the 17th. So we have a really exciting week that week with the 16th donation presentation and then the 17th with the awards.
So now, are you doing any plans for remote fundraisers?
Yeah, we actually so one fundraiser over the summer, which I should actually reference to Craft Roots, they're presenting the check on the 17th as well. They actually made a beer for us over the summer because they felt so bad with our fundraiser being canceled. They called it "We Need You Youth." um, and so that was they actually distributed that for almost 3 months. So they're presenting a donation. They had a percentage of that of the sale of that beer go to the youth center. So we're getting that check donation. We actually did a virtual auction, I would telethon over COVID-19, and that was really to help sustain our program coordinator at the time. So the town funds my salary and the assistant director, but then we had a full-time staff member that we were still trying to keep on board throughout the pandemic, which was very challenging without revenue coming in. So first received a $5,000 grant that was purpose for operational costs. So they allowed us to use it for that. And then we raised almost $5,000 for that auction that we had, which was very successful. It was a lot of the Amazon donations that we were able to package with our board to make really nice prizes and community donations to really finalize that. We had 58 raffle baskets for that. So we sold almost 30 to 35 of them. People made donations to them, excuse me. And then we received another $7,500 grant that allowed us to have an AmeriCorps member. So that's been a huge blessing. Unfortunately, our program coordinator did decide to leave for a different position. It was due to the instability and a better opportunity with the position after probably 4 months into the pandemic. So instead of hiring the program coordinator again, which we didn't know would be sustainable with an unknown future right now with the pandemic, we went the route of writing a grant for an AmeriCorps member, which was the $7,500. So we were able to get that, and then we were able to hire an AmeriCorps member who has been amazing. She comes from Hingham every day, and we really love her. I mean, she's stepped up so much, and she's been a huge asset, not only to our program, but to the Y program, because, I mean, we're working together. It's a collaborative effort. So, having someone at the front desk that's, doing the check-ins and the opening, because we're not open to the public. So people have to buzz in, and then we have to do a signature process. And then she's really the one that's helping with the meals. She orders the meals every day for us and helps us distribute them, and is really taking on a lot of those program coordinator roles in terms of helping us sustain what we would be doing with that full-time staff member.
So now you got Thanksgiving, you got big holidays coming up.
Yep, we have 3 major events, I would say, outside of those 2 that I already mentioned. So normally we invite everyone in the community and to our after school Thanksgiving meal, which we provide. Last year we provided over 100, and I think maybe additional 20 to 30 guests through the community. And we usually do a buffet style. So we get options from Jean's, Oliva's, from the pizza places. We have rice and beans from Casa Brazil. We do just a very crazy assortment of food so that all the kids can have something that they'd enjoy. And we do a buffet, and we always have volunteers and our board members distribute the food in a buffet style. But obviously we can't do that this year. So instead, we wanted to make sure we still had families supported, not only in our program, but the kids, maybe families that used to participate in our program in a normal year, but aren't a part of the out of school time program. So what we are doing is we're working with Jean's and Oliva's. Jean's is packaging individual meals for the kids so that it's, the meal will go directly to the child in their own packaging to keep it safe. So they'll have the turkey, then all the stuffing and the gravy and all the sides. And then we're getting desserts from Oliva's, so individually packaged desserts. So everybody in our program, if they choose to participate, they can have that meal that day of I think it's a Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Um, so that's our program on site, and then Amazon is actually doing a collection of items at their warehouse for with their employees and with things that they receive. So they're going to drop that off on the Monday the 23rd, and then we're going to be able to package additional things for families to take home with them for a family meal. And then finally, we're partnering with Vineyard Church, so they have the option of doing full meals in terms of like the turkey and all the sides in a basket. So we've already distributed that information to the Y and the families, so that families can actually either have that meal dropped off at their house or they can pick it up at Vineyard Church. So we have multiple options for Thanksgiving for the families. We are doing a December 1st Giving Tuesday event. We're not calling it a telethon, and we don't have any real goal in terms of necessarily what we want to raise, but Giving Tuesday is a national global fundraiser that just tries to encourage people to donate on Giving Tuesday to any organization that they choose. So Milford TV is working with us to kind of put on a 4-hour kind of, and it's all pre-recorded material. We're going to record the Amazon donation and the event with the awards, and they've been coming in 2 to 3 days a week in the last probably month to film some of our programming that we're doing currently, and just kind of showcase everything we've been doing over the last probably 8 months. And then we're just gonna and encourage the community, if they so choose to, if they want to make a donation to the youth center on Tuesday, December 1st, which is the Global Giving Tuesday event. And then finally, we have the holidays coming up. We already have 50 kids for the United Way of Tri-County they're sponsoring. So we've already sent that list out. They allow the families to choose 3 different items. So we sent that spreadsheet last month, actually. And then I just had Waters reach out. They usually do an annual giving tree donation as well. So we don't know necessarily if we're going to be able to do as much as we did last year. I think like I said, we served 120 youth and families, but we're already about halfway there with the 2 organizations. So we'll see if we can continue to provide help for the holidays as well.
So now, do you have enough money to do all this?
So, I mean, we've everything we do is community collaboration. I mean, we're still working to fund our part-time staff. The town does have a maintenance budget for us, and then they pay the utilities and my salary, like I said, and the assistant director. But everything else that we try to do is through grants, donations, fundraisers, and rental revenue. So luckily, we have been able to start our rentals again. Again, all COVID compliance. So we have the gym is only at capacity of 25, so we have the divider down, and if there's a skill-based program, because we're not allowing scrimmages, and we're just allowing skill-based programs. So if there has been basketball clinics, we actually started a baseball clinic on Monday. So we are still allowing the community to use the facility and keep kids active as much as they still can in this crazy world right now. And again, though, but just keeping all those guidelines under consideration.
No, I'm just thinking there are probably a lot of people, who aren't in need.
Hmm.
I mean, we've been lucky. We've got a couple extra shekels here or there that if somebody came up and said, we want to put together food from Olivas to go to people for Thanksgiving,
Hmm.
I'd be amazed if Milfordians wouldn't donate, just to help out.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, that's what we've always been so blessed with. I mean, if whether it's our idea or somebody from the community that just wants to do something for our population, the town and the community steps up. So, we had a newsletter go out on Monday for November, and we did say if anyone wanted to contribute to providing, sponsorship for any of those meals, because I know Jeans and Olivas usually donates a portion of it or the whole thing. We kind of realize and know exactly what they're doing once we get the food, but I know they've already agreed to help out. So
Yeah, but you can't ask them for everything. I mean, they're donating time,
exactly.
energy, some food. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but it's up to people in Milford to step up. And now you're making me feel guilty, so I'll put a check in the mail tomorrow morning.
Oh wow, I didn't. It wasn't Liz this time.
It wasn't Liz. I didn't get my phone call from Liz. But
No, we
it's like I remember the giving tree that we had at church. And when
mhm,
that little kid wanted a coat. Of course, my daughters then went out and bought a full ski outfit and, two coats, snow pants, boots, but it made you feel good.
yep,
I mean, my daughter's got a couple pair of boots. She didn't need a third pair of boots.
mhm,
But to a child who doesn't have it, God knows we have enough coats in this house. Instead of buying a new coat just because it's that time of year,
mhm,
it's nice to see her spend money on
yep,
somebody else.
mhm.
That's why I'm wondering, um, how would people know to donate? I mean, can you put something on the bulletin board of the TV station or?
Yeah, I can share. So we have it on our website in our newsletter that went out on Monday, but I share it. We share all of our posts from our newsletter in on Milford Patch, and it gets. I know the newsletter gets read by about 500 people. It kind of tracks everything, but we distribute everything to the schools and things like that. So we'll send things to Liz to make sure she gets it up on Milford TV and that people know how to donate. So they can always connect with us, whether it's calling or emailing, and then we can coordinate how to make it happen. You can make a donation via credit card on our website, or you can mail a check or things like that. So we always take the time to really just to thank the community. I mean, we do a Friday post every week, and I'm always amazed with the generosity that we get, whether it's donating materials or monetary or just support in any way. So we're very lucky for that, and we welcome any support for that. Because I agree with you, Al. I mean, we always, and that's why we chose Olivas and Jeans for this, because we had no intention. We were just going to try to pay for it with some of the funds um, from the out of school time program, because we knew that it was a much less capacity than we're used to. We weren't feeding 150 kids. We were feeding potentially no more than 60, so that it was much more feasible. But right when I said it, and I remember saying it when I was at Jeans, it's like, we're not asking you for anything. We're going to see if this is possible. Can you make individual meals? And we did this in October. And he said, of course, we're going to support, maybe not all of it, but we'll support most of it or portion of it. And I said, that's not what I'm asking. And he said, nope, we're going to support it in some way. And so I appreciate that too. I mean, I know when COVID happened, Katie and I were going out to lunch every day, supporting local restaurants and Olivas and Jeans and Pizza Palace, Pizza Chef, all these places that give back to us in so many ways. Pizza Chef is the one who does our Christmas party every year. They provide the pizzas, for free. Pizza Palace always provides pizza for the telethons for when we have for all the volunteers, and Olivas and Jeans always for Thanksgiving meals and for our fundraisers. So, we don't always want to, it's hard to be the ones always asking for everything, so we try to give back in the small ways that we can as well when we have things that we need to purchase for different events or to have the community sponsor.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I mean, there's organizations like, you think of the town crier that
Mhm.
reaches out to every family, I mean, every house in Milford.
Mhm.
I wonder if we could beg Mr. Al or Miss Marilyn to do something, to kind of be the lead on putting together special, coats or something for kids in Milford who need it.
Mhm.
That certainly would get the word out.
Yeah, and they've always been so good to us, and I would say that's more on uh error on my part. With I mean, we've been busier than I've, and it's crazy to think with less with less kids we're more busy. But um I used to always like, because the newsletter comes usually sooner than I want it to, but it's the monthly kind of recapping and foreshadowing of what we're doing. And my process used to be, newsletter, update to website, update to this, and then put it out to the community. And the crier was always one of those, and they would always do that at no charge to us. But it's something that I haven't been as on top of, I would say, during this, because it's been busy.
Well, there's a few other things going on, like taking care of 50 kids downstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody ever wondered, did we invest $6 million into, a place for kids to play? I encourage them to go look at what you've built downstairs. because after seeing that, both Brian and I walked away saying, wow, this is what it's all about. It's really helping Milford families.
Mhm.
It's great that you give kids a safe place, a place where they can assimilate into the community when they've moved in. But at the end of the day, helping them with basics like food, helping the parents being able to work and still have their kids go to a safe place to learn. I mean, that's kind of pretty low on the Maslow's pyramid there. You can't get more basic, and you can't pick a stronger necessity than food, clothing, and safety.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
I believe that if you talk to people or you get the word out, you'll get people like me guilted into saying, "Yeah, I can write a check."
I'm on it. I
Anything
appreciate it.
else going on you want to leave as we come to the end of the show? Any other words or events you want to talk about?
I just wanna thank you. I mean, you always have to have the whole financial town's, future and necessities, you have to take everything to account, and I know that's a very difficult role, and I know it's been a long journey to see where the youth center's at, and I appreciate everything that you've done, especially recently with the future projects that we want to accomplish and do. So I just wanted to thank you. You've always been a supporter, whether it's our fundraiser in March or our telethon, and now our Thanksgiving meal.
Well,
And thank you.
keep in mind that there's 15 FinCom members, and
Mhm,
all of them are parents.
mhm,
So when they see you helping our kids, I mean, I always joke saying I got 4,400 kids to worry about in the Milford school system.
mhm,
But at the end of the day, when they see you helping out families who need a little extra help here or there, I mean,
mhm,
the whole FinCom rallied around the idea of the money you're going to need for downstairs. And they know because we brought it up and said $30,000 is to build a plan. This is a $500,000 investment because as soon as the 30 is done, they're coming back for the actual work. And we didn't get any pushback. Now, a lot of that's because we're fortunate that the town department heads, I mean, when we started worrying about finances this year and we asked the department heads to squeeze, we got back 0% increases that they could do without raises. They could do without some of the expenses. That you can't ask for more than that. I was so happy when the state came through with the extra $2 million for Chapter 70, because we could go back and say, thank you for pulling back. But right now, we can afford to give you a raise. And that's Milford.
it is. I think you all have to pay a part, to do what's best for the whole community, and I think, we everybody did that, and, it's exciting that it now can be hopefully approved for the future, but, I mean, it's hard it's a hard time for everybody, and I started every Monday with my staff that we are so lucky to have a job, and especially when we didn't have kids in the building, we made ourselves still important in the community as much as we could, and we still did things. We distributed those items. We met with families because we weren't like we were lucky, and we were being paid, and I was going to make sure we still worked to make sure that we helped out where we could.
Well, we appreciate it. And as we come to the end of our show, if you don't know about the Youth Center, learn. If you have a few extra pennies here or there, consider throwing them in because every dollar goes to a really good cause. And you can't ask for better than Jen and Katie supporting Milford families and Milford kids. I may be a little prejudiced towards Milford, but okay. And as always, to our 6 loyal viewers, thank you for joining. May God bless. May tomorrow be a better night than tonight. And I hope to see you either supporting or attending some youth center activities soon. Good night, all.
Thank you.
Far too long since I've been home. Been running all my life just